Hi there, thank you for viewing this week's video. Let's look at the indices and check out how they have performed and also the outlook for the upcoming week. First, a quick discussion on the market performance last week. The US market began with some sell-off as oil price rebounded to reflect the uncertainty of the ongoing peace talk between Russia and Ukraine. However, the market diverges away from the concern as investors focus on economic data. The strong jobless claim data had helped the US indices to move higher to end the week on a positive note. Generally, the Dow was on a range trade, while S&P 500 and Nasdaq were trying to move into uptrend on their own way. Looking at the Asian market, the STI had been strong as the reopening announcement had boosted the market, while the Hang Seng floated after a strong movement to test its resistance. Let's take a look at the chart right now. We'll have the Dow first. Over here, you can see the Dow chart on the screen. On a broader picture, we can see that the Dow was ranging last week from 34316 to 34920. The first day of trading, we saw a lower opening and a sell-off, but the market was able to shake it off by pushing towards its resistance, its minor resistance around 35050. But on Wednesday, there was some talk about inflation, and what happened was that the Dow was being pushed towards its support level around this level at 34142. But the strong jobless claim data had helped the Dow to rebound, and the strong finishing to the week on Friday to 34920, which retested the week's high, has suggested that the Dow may continue to move higher. So why is that so? As you can see here, we can see a potential higher low in the making, and especially if it can break above 35050 and breaking above this resistance, this minor resistance around here, can help the index to form the next higher high. Now, needless to say, if the index can close very close to this resistance at 35820, there is a very high chance for the Dow to hit its projected level at 36045. Now, let's see whether the Dow can do it next week. Let's move on to S&P 500. S&P 500 was the best performing index last week as compared to the Dow and Nasdaq in terms of the level movement. The index started the week flat and has been steadily moving up despite minor setback on Wednesday's trading. Now we can see that the index has a very strong rebound on Thursday to the high of the week and a breakout to close the week, which suggests that there is a high chance for the index to retest this major resistance around 4598, and from here we can plot an uptrend line, and this upward trajectory can suggest that if the index maintain above this line, we may see it move towards this 4735 sooner than expected. Next, let's take a look at Nasdaq Composite. So the Nasdaq Composite, despite ending the week lower in the negative zone, generally it had been a good week for the index, as we can see that it is a higher closing in the weekly candle. And if we zoom in and look closer, in fact, Friday it almost closed above this minor resistance around 14176. But the closing was just a little bit, a few points off the resistance. So to speak, we see that the chance for the Nasdaq to move higher despite the so-called closing below the resistance remains intact. And we like to see that next week it move to 14508 resistance to cement its chance to move into this projected level at 15065. Generally, it is still an upward trending movement, so let's see whether we can close higher next week. Let's move on to the Asian market. We see STI, a very strong chart, a very strong closing to the week. But of course, the week started, in a very strong manner as well. So we can see that here, the STI closed higher than the previous week high to negate any possibility of consolidation. Even a very strong opening to the week, we see that the index moved up shakily for the second day and third day of trading, probably due to the uncertainty on whether the reopening rules are relaxed enough to boost the economy. So on the day of announcement of the COVID situations by our Prime Minister, the index soared as the market cheered the significant reopening movement in a bigger scale that is going to help to boost the economy, and traveling will make much easier. So the index has broken its intermediate resistance, and with no apparent weakness, there is a very good chance for the index to retest this resistance at 3467. So let's watch closely to see how the index moves towards its resistance. Now let's take a look at the Hang Seng market. Last week, it had been a mixed week for the index. It opened strongly higher at the start of the week, but only to give up its gain on the same day, within the same day, to end lower. And technically, this is a sign of weakness, as it suggested selling dominated the market. However, a good fight back on the second day helped to ease the selling pressure, and the third day saw the index moved higher to fill up its gap over here. Now, technically, this is a very good sign because all these are pointing towards an even stronger performance from the index, until to the point where the index start to flutter again as selling pressure crept in to create the upper shadow over here. So as you can see, as I zoom in, the upper shadow here. This is a sign of weakness as well. And then on the fourth day, the selling was confirmed as the index gapped down and failed in its attempt to recover from the sell-off. So this suggested that there might be more downward movement, and we have saw that happened on Friday. So what is the significance of the Friday's closing? So if I were to turn on the indicator, I have this indicator, you can see that the index is resting on its 20-day MA, and this is a very critical point. Why? Because piercing below this 20-day MA and pierce below this or break below this 20,786 may fill up this gap. And once it fills up this gap, it make it exhaustive, and this is a weakness. So when that happened, it may suggest that the index may retest this support level again, and it's going to be very, very bad unless the index can do a V-shaped recovery again from this support level. So of course, it is not all negative yet because it hasn't broken its support level yet. What we see is that there might be still a chance, but only if the index can't open at 21404 level and then fight all the way back to close above 21950. So if you can close above 21950 thereabouts, so long as it is above this 21944, it has a good chance to create an uptrend, because this may be a first sign for it to move up higher to form its first higher low, and therefore the chance to change in trends remains intact. And of course, it must break above this 22439 level, as I've drawn earlier, to continue its upward movement. Okay, so wrapping up, the charts of the US indices suggest that there is still chance for more upward movement, and next week we'll have a slew of data to be released, and speech from the member of the Fed committee, which may be able to help the indices to move higher. Point to note is that the market is crossing into April on Friday, and the non-farm payroll will be the key data that have strong impact to the market movement. In the Asia front, the Singapore STI continues to outperform the Hang Seng Index, and there is a saying, right, that the funds have been flowing from Hong Kong to Singapore, thus the better performance. However, personally, I think that the funds are fluid and rotating. It will be always hunting for opportunities and rotates from market to market time to time. The key to watch next week is actually the ability to retest its resistance and whether Hang Seng can hold on to its support level to form higher low and higher high next week. Thank you for viewing this video, and I will see you again.